Hi everyone, it's weekend and we are back. We are back with another thought provoking story that will make you ponder for sure. Let's get started.
There was once a woodsman who made his living by cutting and selling firewood. His life was relatively uneventful because of the same schedule every day until one morning when he did not find his axe. The axe was missing. Now he was very disturbed because the axe was the most important tool of his trade. He searched his entire house, looked around, but he couldn't find it. And he started to ponder who could steal his axe. So, after a lot of thinking, after a lot of pondering, he came to the conclusion that the neighbor's boy is the most likely suspect. So, he started spying on him, first from concealment from his house, and he saw the boy loitering around in the neighborhood. And the way he was walking looked suspicious, looked like that he was sneaking around, and certainly he was planning another theft. Now, having got this confidence, he thought of meeting the boy and trying to figure out more. So he went out, met the boy, they both greeted each other, and he kept the boy under strict scrutiny while he was talking. And he noticed that his voice and mannerism were those of a thief. The boy definitely seemed nervous. Now, why would he be nervous unless he had the guilt of stealing the axe or a fear of getting caught? His eyes were shifty, and the overall feel that he could get was definitely not very convincing. So, after spending time with him, he came to the conclusion that the boy is the thief. Now, since he found the thief, he must bring him to justice. So he thought the best way was to go and confront his father. His father, he was aware that the boy's father was working in the forest that day. So he headed towards the forest and he passed through the same area where he was cutting trees, and suddenly he got a glint on his eyes from all the covered trees, and he noticed that the glint is coming from the axe that is hanging on the tree. He looked up and he realized, oh, this is my axe. Oh, and then he recalled, perhaps he just forgot it the other day because he got so tired and he kept it there and forgot to bring it because of the extra load that he had. He was happy, he was delighted, and he was relieved that he found his axe. But there was a lot of uneasiness in his head. If the axe was here, what about the boy? He looked like a complete thief. All all the pointers, all the evidences we gathered, right? All pointed towards the fact that there was something suspicious. And while he was in these thoughts, he came almost close to his home, and then he saw the boy was again loitering around, exactly in the same manner that he saw him before. But interestingly, this time he did not look suspicious at all. So he thought of again meeting the boy. So they both greeted each other and got into idle chatter. And he noticed that, his voice and mannerism were pretty normal. There was no sense of guilt that he could find anymore. And all everything that he thought about nervousness was nothing but a relaxed boredom in the boy. What about the thief then? So, in fact, there was no axe thief. It was just preconceptions about the boy which led to this perception, a very strong perception that the boy was a thief, which basically had no basis at all. Oftentimes in life, we'll see, especially for people, whom we disregard and look at in bad taste or we loathe, we have preconceived notions about them, and that brings up a perception which just keeps on getting stronger, because with each event we feel, that this is feeding to our perception, and that gets stronger and stronger. And this does not just happen with people. Even in the case of events, we have our similar thinking, similar perceptions, and then we start thinking, oh, you see, I told you this. Ah, I knew this will happen. And these preconceptions, perceptions, are at most harmful when they are against ourselves. So sometimes they become the most negative force in our lives. A lot of time we would have come across people who would say, I'm just not lucky in love. I'm not really good with money. I'm not that sociable. Or I'm not that athletic type. But more often than not, these perceptions or these negative thoughts has no basis at all. Now, what can be the cure for this? What is the cure for this perception? The perception, just what had happened in the case of the woodsman, that his entire assumptions, his entire thought process got challenged when he found his axe. There was a paradigm shift in his thought process and in his life. So, the axe is something that we all need to find, which can bring a paradigm shift in our lives. And again, this can again be used in our own context. And you will see that in a lot of cases, that people will say, oh, I didn't know I could do this. I'm so surprised that I had this in me. I never thought of it. And I'm sure these thoughts, these sentences sound very common to us. These statements sometimes even we make, right? So once you reach that stage, you have found your X. Similarly, we all need to find our axes. Now, to find the axe, the woodsman had to go into the forest and look for it. He found it by accident. We'll have to find it with deliberate attempt and intent to find it. And once we find it, we will see there is immense potential, opportunities, and capabilities that lie ahead, which we always thought was not possible. And the finding of the axe can happen from this very moment as we talk. So let's get on to this journey. Thank you.
Hope you liked this story. Don't forget to click on the bell icon post subscribing. We'll be waiting for your comments.